Hi, everyone. I'm Rohit. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Stilt. And today we have Sarah with us again from Legalpad. Hey, Sarah.
Hi, everyone.
Legalpad makes it easier and faster for startup founders and teams to get US work visas. So that's what the company does. And Sarah is the co-founder and chief operating officer of Legalpad. Today we'll talk about the latest President Trump visa ban. So on June 22nd, I believe President Trump signed a continuation of a previous proclamation 10014 banning or suspending the entry of aliens to the U.S. This one was mainly targeted at professional visa holders, including H-1B, H-2B, J visa, L visa, and their companions. This is potentially going to impact hundreds of thousands of immigrants or visa holders moving to the US. And Sarah is going to help us make sense of it all and give us some tidbits on what visa holders can do in this type of situation. Tell us a little bit more about the proclamation itself, how it came to be, and any additional details that
Sure.
you should know.
The first step is it does extend the existing ban on green card issuance, basically an entry. So entering as a green card holder, it extends it up to December 31st, 2020. It is important to note that if you already have a valid green card with you, you can use that to enter. It's really about for people who are getting their green cards through the consulate, like going through the green card interview process at the consulate. That's really who it affects. And then also, the June 22nd proclamation, the part that got a lot of news coverage was that it restricted entry into the U.S. through the end of the year, basically for H-1B, H-2B, L-1, and certain J-1 categories, including the dependents for all four of those that I just mentioned. It restricts the entry for all those people unless they already have a valid visa or advanced parole. So advanced parole is the re-entry permit that you get when you're applying for your green card in conjunction with your, like once you have an approved I-140, you can apply for the I-485 and then the I-131 concurrently. And that's the advanced parole piece. If you already have an approved I-131, then you're good to go.
Anything else that visa holders should know about this?
In a way, it's easily summed up with the fact that if you're outside of the U.S. and you're, for the H-1B part in particular, because that's what we're here to talk about, and you have your H-1B visa stamp has expired, you won't be able to get a new H-1B visa stamp and come back for the rest of 2020, according to this proclamation, right? And, there are already a lot of things in place that would have prevented this from happening anyway, like the closure of the consulates. You won't be able to do a new visa interview to get that new visa sticker because consulates aren't open right now. And if you're outside of the U.S., like, again, really important to reiterate, you're outside of the U.S. and your H-1B visa stamp is still valid, you can come back in.
Right.
Because you have a valid reason to come into the U.S. So that means like even if you have an H-1B visa stamp from a previous employer, for example, like you just did an H-1B transfer, but your H-1B visa stamp is still valid and it has your previous employer's name on it, you can still use that to come back into the U.S. You'll just need to have the approval notice for your approved H-1B transfer with you as you're entering the U.S.
Is there a time frame for which your H-1B stamp needs to be valid before to allow you to move to the U.S.? What if my H-1B is ending next month?
So it really depends. Without getting kind of too into the weeds or into the details, it's important to distinguish between getting an a visa stamp and getting your visa status, right? So for example, if you're an F1 student in the U.S., and you went through the lottery and you filed for something called a change of status, you automatically get H-1B status on October 1st, if it's approved, right? But you may not necessarily have a visa stamp in your passport because you can only get those abroad. So you have valid H-1B status, but you won't be able to re-enter the U.S. Without a valid H-1B stamp, because that stamp is your ticket to come into the U.S.
If a different visa is approved, you get that visa, you get into that visa status. But if you're outside the U.S., that status will not help you come to the U.S. unless it is like physically stamped on either your passport or you actually have an advanced parole card or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. And there's also another update that happened much more recently. So if you're inside the U.S. and your H-1B visa stamp has expired, but it was still valid on June 24th, 2020, you can travel internally and obtain an H-1B visa stamp to come back if consulates are open. So it's contingent on that. So this actually came from a tweet from the Department of State.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So if an individual is in the U.S. on June 24th, but left the U.S. because their visa was expired, they are not subject to the proclamation and can seek visa renewal before December 31st.
Got it. And as of now, the proclamation is only until the end of the year. And at that time, it will be reassessed.
That's right. Okay. As far as we know right now, yeah.
Let's go into a few questions that we got from Stilt users and some questions that you guys see on Legalpad. The first one is from a Stilt user who mentions that he went to India for his sister's wedding and his visa is currently under renewal. And his current visa will expire in 3 months. Will he be able to come back to the U.S.?
Yeah, this is a great question and requires some clarification. So the reason why I mentioned is distinguishing between visa status and visa sticker. This is particularly important for this question. So if their visa status is under renewal, so let's say that they have outline a scenario. So if they have an H-1B with their company right now, and what they're doing is filing for an extension, and that person has a valid visa sticker in their passport, they can still use that to re-enter the U.S. Because their visa hasn't expired yet. Just because, like, if you're renewing it, then you probably did it in a timely manner, I'm assuming. And you still have that valid H-1B, and you have that valid H-1B sticker that acts as a ticket to come into the U.S., right? So that's fine. But if your visa sticker has expired, but you still have a valid H-1B status, you still you still need that visa sticker to come into the U.S. And if you were in the U.S. on June 24th, but left due to the expiration of your visa, you're not subject to the proclamation. Again, just worth reiterating, but you will still need to wait until consulates open back up to get that new visa sticker to come in.
And as of now, like, many consulates around the world are closed.
Yeah, I mean, the government plans on reopening the consulates in phases, but, for people who don't have a valid visa stamp, you still won't be able to re-enter the U.S. Until the end of the year because of that proclamation.